we have just two last things, and one was Maxine had something to say about her initiative, and we did not include that till now, so sorry about that. And before we end, all that we are doing and how it's coming to fruition and how it's showing results, Romy had the example of pretty much executing from idea to action. So maybe we will request Romy to summarize that, and after that we will close this session. So please, Maxine, you can go ahead.
Sure. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I don't want to repeat anything that was said. Can you hear me? Sure. I don't want to repeat anything that was said in the prior meetings. I guess just the next chapter for what we've been working on with the New Standard Institute in partnership with Columbia's Earth Institute with Casey has been bringing in those different stakeholders from across the apparel industry. So very briefly for those folks who were not in the last meeting, the New Standard Institute is a multi-stakeholder initiative in the apparel space, which is a $3 trillion industry. We all get dressed, so it's a big industry. It's the second most polluting industry. 1 in 6 people around the world work in some part of the apparel supply chain. 75% of them are women. 98% of them are not receiving a living wage. So you can see why the apparel sector is very deeply integrated as a potential solution and as a current cause of problems related to Goal 8. But we have been advancing on the standards front and then on the communication side as well, because we've been hearing a lot of talk today about how do we reach beyond the choir, how do we get to speak to people who might have a vague interest in doing good, but they don't know yet about the documentaries that are out there, the great photographic exhibitions that are out there. They're not yet aware, as you were mentioning, Adam, that slavery is even a problem. So the idea on the communications front is how can we bring that message to a broader audience? The great thing is that everybody does get dressed, and there is a lot of power in the consumer choice. We're certainly seeing that in the US, in the power of the purse. And so we've brought in a couple of partners that I just wanted to kind of offer that if it's helpful, I think in private conversations, it seems to be helpful. So we've brought in Nike and Levi's, Eileen Fisher, Participant Media, and for those folks who don't know Participant, they're behind basically a lot of the really great films that have an underlying social issue. So Food Inc., An Inconvenient Truth, Spotlight, which won the Academy Award for Best Film. In terms of being able to speak beyond the choir, I think it's that type of media, those type of films and documentaries. And then with Sunshine Sachs as well, which is a great communications firm in the United States that represents Leonardo DiCaprio and a lot of A-listers. So if I can be helpful to anybody on that front and offer kind of those, that social capital, I'm happy to make those connections. I think what we really need to do is to elevate, harmonize all of the great work that's happening in this room and elevate it so it has much larger, broader audience, so that the next time we're speaking to a taxi driver or the folks who are buying their cheap jeans, they understand the connection between the purchases that they're making, the decisions that they're making, and the impact that it has on people and planet. So thanks.
Thank you, very nice. Romy, if we could have
thanks, Raza. Elliot has actually asked me to put forward just a little bit of a case study around a couple of the initiatives and how this particular group, the GSN, have been able to engage to assist at sort of a grassroots level. we've heard, about the website CRM. We see this as a GSN group consolidation and a collaboration point. And a lot of these initiatives are put online there. We can track the progress and the like. But it all comes down to really, this traction and, people literally getting out there, pounding the pavement, so to speak, and making it happen. I would say that if you're motivated by it, get up and actually do something about it. I met, Rani, Lisa, Jeffrey, Maxine, and Casey, who reached out to me recently for just some advice and some feedback, a bit of a sounding board through the GSN. So here is a forum where, 4 different groups with 4 different initiatives. Some are synergetic, some go together, and others are in effect standalone. Can be helped to get some wings, to fly. I found myself listening to each of these people in the first instance, motivated enough to, whilst sitting in the meetings, sending messages to friends and contacts, to take a look at this website for this film, take a look at this website for this photographic exhibition, for example. And so I was motivated enough to act literally on the spot and start putting out the message. What in particular was of particular interest to me is the fact that, Rani's project is a work in progress, progressing well. But Jeffrey's project and Lisa's projects were, fully blown, complete, packaged products that I thought, well, could get some extra support, get some extra lift, and how could I actually help in this spirit of taking things A to Z? How could I help, bring these projects to the form of being exposed? I see them as educational and information pieces, not just entertainment and it's a nice little message, but something that actually could propagate into something bigger and wider. Hence the reason I took particular interest in these particular projects. I don't think it's appropriate for me to talk about what I did to help you guys, but I think I'd like to bat it to the people involved to talk about actually our association, what benefit or lack of benefit you saw, where the gaps are, in order to give the audience here a sense as to how this group can practically engage to take something A to Z. As Raza put it, for the Enslaved exhibition and for the film Sold, I've worked on, since engaging with you guys, taking the project from an idea to, proper exposure and screening in a particular territory. We had a soft attempt at that in Dubai, but a more formal arrangement that's been agreed. The parameters have been agreed now, so it's a fait accompli. And so it would be nice to hear from those parties involved, Rani, Lisa, and Jeffrey.
Well, I think the wonder of this community is that we so much come together to help prevent slavery and to end it. And I can only say that in collaborating with Justin Dillon on Slavery Footprint and getting his message out, as well as Rani's, who in my book, of which I wish I had more copies to offer all of you, is in the back so that people actually have a go-to. And Jeffrey and I, of course, have known each other since he was actually about to film Sold. And now to have, Romy, bring what we've already cultivated, and certainly Jeffrey had shown his film, and I've had the exhibitions, but to keep it going and amplifying it out has been just a true gift. And the other thing that I want to say about it is that there's so much wellspring of ability for us all to work together and to help support one another's initiatives and really get a strong hold. And I feel very grateful for that which you've done and all of others who have participated.
So, Lisa, I forgot to thank you for actually me even being here. Lisa brought me in and introduced me to the GSN, and Rami, you very specifically approached me immediately. It was in the Hungarian embassy, I remember, and Lisa talked to Gabor, and you were having a show in Budapest, and Lisa introduced me, and so it's really the way this network works is through friendship, through trust, and through alliances. And Rami and Rasa brought me and Jane to Dubai, where we showed the PG-13 version of the film. And I want to just make it expressly clear that anyone who wants to see it, please just email me, and I'll find a way to get you to see the film, either in its full length or its PG-13 version. Now Rami is bringing us to Jordan, and from there he is also actively involved in sort of creating a ladder for both of these platforms to go in a much bigger context, which will bring us back to Dubai, I imagine. So this is really real support, actioned by Rasa and Rami both, and Rami is, continuing to help us have wings. The film that I've made, it had a release in the U.S., and now we're taking it global, and he's really helping with that process. So thank you.
And Gabor also, who's been just really lovely having both Jeffrey and I out. In fact, you all may know, but I have these great brochures of our Budapest showing of the film and the exhibit on the 19th.
Thank you. Moshe, you want to? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for that those comments. This is all part of a greater strategic plan to give as much exposure to the message as we possibly can. And part of the quid pro quo of this is that at the front end of this is GSN. We're helping to propagate this, and of course our brand value increases with that, as with the website. Our brand value, this is a consolidation and building of our brand value and our credibility in the international marketplace. I happen to be particularly motivated by these specific projects. These are ones that I'd heard about in this forum. But any of you hearing about any other project, if you're motivated by it, get up and do something about it. Join one of the chapters, take your bag, make those phone calls, tap your friends and connections, and try and make it happen. For me, I'm proud that many thousands, perhaps tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people will get the message through what you guys have created and packaged. I'm just happy that I can play a part in helping to strategically help direct that process.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, Moshe, you were saying something?
Yeah, I have a question/suggestion for action. And this is a question to GSN, but specifically to you, Romy, and Gabor, Lisa, and Jeffrey. Could it be that you came up with a formula between showing the movie and having the exhibition, and this can be a package which can easily be reproduced in other places? We are 4 or 5 here from Brussels, Belgium. We can maybe do this in Brussels. This can be done in Pakistan. It can be done in several places. Maybe if you can come up with like the formula, you needed to contact a museum. What did you need to do? Lisa, what are the expenses involved? And maybe it's easier for some of us here to say, oh, maybe it's not that hard to do that back in my location. I can get a few people involved and make this happen. So this is specifically a question to you, how you made this happen.
Very practical, yeah, very good.
So in answer to that, you'll find it's actually surprisingly easy. I shared with Maxine, Casey, and Elliot some of the correspondence on this particular Jordanian thing yesterday. The correspondence is very exciting in itself, to see how this evolves and scales up, and especially when you see the people, the caliber of people involved. These are serious influences are involved. So absolutely, there is a formula there, and we should not just talk about it, we should actually action it in all of those, scale it, action it in all of those different places. find out the fundamentals of what are needed, very simple, and carry it.
Mine is a specific request of coming up with a formula that maybe others can be aware also. So we know, you can make a GSN event.
Formula.
If you
We
want to
can
say
work
so.
something out
Wherever.
on this. Thanks. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the input everybody has had today. Amazing things came out of it, from looking at new initiatives, update on Pakistan. That's really encouraging to see that GSN Pakistan is going to give us some hope on how to expand on things, and we can learn from the mistakes we may make in Pakistan, hopefully not. We also like the idea of how this collaboration is working amongst the GSN members who are finding ways and means of supporting one another. And I really was also excited about seeing Ronnie's clear call for action and then Yehuda's immediate solution to that, this is what we really want to do. So we see a lot of action coming in, and I am very hopeful with the group that's forming up and the executive committee that's volunteering their time are probably the most practical people that I've ever come across in my life who are not only practical but have a heart of gold, very dedicated, very sincere. That's why I'm proud to call them my friends. And the foundation of our GSN was laid when Bishop Sanchez very clearly said, this is a network amongst friends. Let's forget about any formalities. Let's start bringing friends together. So it started with 3 friends getting together on just the friendship basis, and we only invited all our friends and some of the friends of the friends. And this is a community that's growing rapidly. There is something that has been bothering me for a few months, and I've shared with some of my closest friends here, and it came up again this morning when Mr. Amarsi mentioned about the advisor who said, my God and my country and my democracy or my way of democracy, because my question has also been something similar. I don't know how many of you really made an effort to have the faith that you have today, because I was just born in it. I didn't really have much of a choice in the country I was born in either, so I didn't choose my country either. So I'm really proud of it because I was born in it. I could have been born in my anywhere neighborhood, right? So, so I know one thing for sure, that what I have been taught all my life by my faith and also by my country is to take care of my country fellow men, take care of my human brother or humanity on its own. So humanity itself at times gets challenged by our national interest. At times, people misuse the extreme versions of faith to create the divides and harm the humanity. So I keep thinking that's what's really driving me. So I'm still confused and I don't have real answer to that. I just thought this is something I'll share with this Claire family, and I've shared with some friends already. So let's look at that, and I'd love to hear everybody's response. I would request Monsignor Sanchez, and I would like to thank him. I would like to thank Gabriela and the team that has been there doing a lot of work from Pontifical Academy for putting up such an amazing show over here, for being such lovely hosts, and for putting up with all last-minute changes and so many requests. Once again, thank you very much. Barzan, Miguel, the team, you guys have done an amazing job. Jennifer and all, so thank you. Monsignor Sanchez, if I could request you to close the session for the day.
But first of all, I want to really thank all of you for your presence here, your effort to come, your initiative, and all your participation, very active, and commitment to realize the original ideas that we have, as you know, to eradicate this new form of slaves and climate change. But I am very happy to see the develop of the original cell. And we know that we have a new chapter in Pakistan and many other things that are in evolution. And maybe this is a very interesting evolution, and we can say it's like evolution of the human being, of the beings, because all in the origin is an cell that transmit to all cells the genetic code. And this is more or less our idea, to be very independent, the different parts, but at the same time to have the same genetic code. That is the idea to be together, to work to the human dignity, freedom, and peace of the people, of all people. And maybe we can, in this evolution, to understand what could be the best structure that we can have. I, for example, think that we need to have an original cell that is like a soul of the others, and each one can have a structure near to the real necessity that have in different parts. It's impossible to have one to cover all the possibilities, and maybe we can have structures or cells that respond to the countries, or a structure to respond to the professions, or to the jobs, and in different way, horizontal and more vertical, very different things. The important thing is to conserve the original ideas, proposals, and just the basis of our relation that need to be this friendship. I remember an idea from the Ethic of Aristotle that is very simple, and he put the friendship as a central part of the ethics. This is more important than the virtue, because all the virtue can have if we have friendship. And he say, the thing that we can do with our friends, because our friends are like us. You know the famous idea that he have. The friend is like another me, another self. And I think this really is very important. We say in theology, charisma. It's a special gift that we need to conserve, and we need to develop like we see that we develop today. And of course, we want that this arrive in the maximum extension that we can have, to arrive to all people, and also to arrive to give dignity all these people that have suffered and are victims of the different forms, and also to our common house, that is the air that we have. In the contrary, we have a future that is not the ideal. But the other thing that I think that we need to consider really, and I don't hear in this meeting, is to have a cell that is the young people, and guide for the young people, and we try to organize this, because this is very important. The young people, I have some experience that are more convincing, more committed than us about the vision of the world, or the present world and the future world. Thank you very much for your participation and your effort to come and all things. And I am very happy to see that we can see again very near in London, maybe, or in Dubai. Thank you.
Thank you. Two short announcements. The London dates still are 30th and 31st of May, as we discussed at House of Lords. There was a message I just received. It says, My colleague says, I'm not going to mention name, there's not even a shadow of taxi anywhere in Rome. So I think we've been requested to take buses, and the buses have already been arranged, so let's not miss them. No. Thank you, everybody.